can't believe I'm saying this lively, but we were in a hotel, and I remember there was two ladies from the kitchen already, and they were looking to me, blue eyes, and said, "Oh, look to this Pitauzinho, he's so cute." And then he'll start laughing. He couldn't stop laughing, and then after that, he was just telling me that every single day.
Diogo, thank you for joining us on Koora Break Extra Time podcast. Everybody knows about your career since joining Man United and the Portugal national team, but let's strip it back. Take us back to Diogo, the child. Take us back to the childhood.
I would say I had a pretty normal childhood. Was fortunate enough to have a stable family that provided me everything that I needed to grow in a normal way, I would say. But obviously, first memories is always related to football. I remember first times going to see Porto with my father into the stadium. I remember when the new stadium for Porto, Estádio Dragão, went. They built it as a new one, so I remember going there, and everything started there. I mean, obviously, when you're a kid, you want to try everything. But I just remember trying to play football, having a football always with me, and my father felt it. My father felt it that I liked it. He was also pushing me to go because he's a fanatic of football, and it was something that he always wanted to do. But my grandmother didn't allow him at the time.
Yeah.
It was just, you have to study. Football world doesn't give you money, or doesn't give you it's not a proper job. The mentality back then was a little bit different. And it was almost like fulfilled his dream in a certain way in the beginning. So he pushed me to a little school in my hometown. And that's where my first few steps. I remember I played 2 or 3 years in there. I was playing constantly. As a kid, you just have energy all the time. So I remember I was playing on a Friday on the team in my local town. On Saturday, I was playing from the same club but in another town. So they had like different in different cities, but always representing the same club.
Okay.
So I was doing Friday in one team, Saturday in another team, and Sunday in another team. So it was the full weekend playing football, and I remember I loved those moments. And because I was getting constantly exposed to playing against other teams, I remember we were going to tournaments, and then we would play Benfica, we would play Sporting, we would play Porto, and that's when the first few contacts started with my father and with the club. And when I was 8, I went to Porto.
So that must be like an amazing experience, because I didn't know that you were a fan of Porto, and you're
Yes.
Porto, and you start there and you go through the youth team,
Yes.
and then you get called up to the first team.
Yeah, you can imagine how it is to grow up in a club where you're already a fan, how special it is. And for me, it was exactly that. It was getting step by step, but always aiming for the first team. I want to reach there. I want to play for the first team. Obviously, when you are 8, you think it's going to be really tough, really difficult. But I always fought year by year. I remember my father was always saying to me that we have to think season by season, not thinking too much ahead, season by season, trying to be the best all the time. I still do that. So it was something that I really learned and try to do even today, trying to have that approach. And it was fantastic journey in Porto. I mean, I did pretty much everything in there since I was a kid. So going from 8 to 18 was an unbelievable 10 years that made me to get here.
And Portugal as well, under 15, under 16, you went throughout. Like,
yes, I don't remember missing one camp, to be
Yeah.
honest. I did from under 15 until the first team. It was something that I'm really proud of it. Always constantly in the squads, doing tournaments, traveling the world with my national team was something special, and you get a little bit of the taste of what it is playing in the first teams. Then, especially when you go to Euro competitions or World Cups. I remember first World Cup that I did under 20 in South Korea. You just feel the organization, you just feel the atmosphere.
Completely different, yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
It's not the same level as the first team,
Yeah.
but you feel because there's already very good players under 20s. You have players playing. We had players playing already in the Premier League and the best leagues in the world, and you're competing with those players already with 18, 19. I think I was 17 or 18 at the time. It's a privilege, and it's also put you already exposed to those kind of levels.
And you said your father is living his dream through you, and you guys went to Porto matches as a child. How did he feel when you played your first Primeira Liga game with Porto?
I mean, it was really emotional.
Did you feel the emotion while you were playing?
Before he was my father.
Yeah.
He was a Porto fan.
Yeah.
So he was completely fanatic for Porto, and he still is. So imagine you like the club, you have a son, the son plays for that club, and plays in the first team. I mean, I cannot imagine the feeling that he had, even today, playing for this club, playing for the national team. When I score goals, I mean, it's really emotional for him because he sacrificed a lot for me. Even in the early days, him and my mom, because I was living in Braga all the time, and Porto is 45 minutes away. So it's not far, but it's a tough journey to do every single day. And they always try to keep me in my hometown. Even in the school, I had to stay there because otherwise you go to Porto, because Porto had a house where you could go. Every player can stay there, the players that are from far. But then you have to do this, be in the same school, seeing your teammates every single day, 24/7. They just thought that for me it was better to have like a separate life instead of seeing the same people every day. So they sacrificed a lot in terms of traveling. They had to reschedule their life so they could take me back to training, wait there 3 hours, and then come back while they were working. So it was quite sacrificed, I would say. But at the same time, I think, especially my father, because he was the one that was more close to football, he enjoyed those journeys. I remember he always says that he liked me to wake me up in the morning really early to go to trainings, to go to the games. He would cook for me pasta with eggs already, and these type of things. I think he was really visualizing what he wanted for me, and I was just living it. You know, almost like he wouldn't put that pressure on me. But at the same time, he would give me everything that he
would allow you to succeed.
Exactly. Not always. He always wanted to push me as well. After the games, he was always the travel home, especially if we lose or if I didn't play so well. He would make sure that he tells me. Still does that. So always trying to give me that feedback, what to improve, what I'm doing well, in his eyes, obviously. So we always had that little bit of partnership since the beginning. But overall, they sacrificed a lot, my parents, for me to be able to play in a big club already in Portugal in such a young age. So it would be so much easier for me to play at Braga or play in a club really close to my hometown. But they knew that being exposed in a big club, obviously our club as a family, so would be also a step up in my opinion and a different challenge. So they always allow me to be in that position, and I'm really thankful.
And you only played 10 games for Porto, less than 10 games for Porto, first team, Primeira Liga, and I think Taça de Portugal. And you're only 19, and Man United come
Yeah.
for you?
I think it's just obviously the context a little bit also. When you're playing when you're young, you always have that role of being also promising talent. Everybody talks about you. Who's the next talent coming through the academy of Porto or Sporting or Benfica? And at the time, I remember I was one of those who were coming through the academy, arriving into the first team. So you're a little bit more exposed to the clubs. And because I was getting out of contract, I remember I only had 1 year left. It was easier for the clubs to approach me. And to be honest, we had a couple of options, not just Man United. But the only one who called me was Mr. Mourinho at the time. And as soon as I had that call, my mind just went straight to come in here.
Because obviously he's not only Portuguese, but he's also a Porto legend,
Yes.
like Champions League winner,
Exactly.
Europa League winner.
And I think that also had there's one of the reasons why. Obviously, he knew what to say to me. He knew how it is to play for that club. He knew how to convince me that
special
that
touch.
even if it was at a young age, you could still do it. And I remember the call like it was yesterday, and the way that he spoke to me, the confidence that he gave me that I could come here and play for the club for a long time. It was a no-brainer for me, and luckily we made it through and we could make the deal, and it was a really good step for me.
Now, your start at United, there was a bit of a struggle. Jose left, Ole came, you were injured there was a chunk you were injured for your start. You didn't play that much under Jose, you played a little under Ole. Next season again the same, and then you go out on loan to AC Milan. How was that mindset for you? How did you mentally deal with that? What helped you get over it? How did you like we fast forward now?
Yeah.
Ranić, Ten Hag, Amorim, you are ever present. All three managers have trusted you. So I just want to go back to that slightly dark side of your career, where it didn't look like it may not. I think,
to be completely honest, obviously now looking back, it was the most important years of my career, I would say. It can be now that I'm playing at a top level for a while, consistently. It can be really devastating in a moment like that, especially if you're 19, 20. You made such a big step coming from Porto, not playing as much as a first team player, not proving that much that you are a good player at that level. Until then, I played really well, obviously, in the under 23s of Porto, second team. In the academy, I did everything. I played every squad, every tournament that I could play. But first team football was different. And obviously, when I arrived, the day that I signed, or the day that I was supposed to sign, is the day that I know that I have to do an operation to my knee. Mm-hmm. So imagine how it is for me to get that news. And I have my agent calling me, Diogo, the deal is done, we just need to sign. And on the other hand, I was coming out of hospital and said, I have to do the operation. Mm. Now, I don't know if the deal is coming off or not. I text Mr. Mourinho, I call him, and he calls me and said, listen, I don't care about the injury. That injury, you recovered well. Yeah, I trust you. Imagine, I was crying at my house, not knowing why this manager is trusting me that hard. It's because he knew that I had something, and in those times it's difficult for you to find that click of why is he trusting me that hard. I didn't prove myself to that point, but luckily I had really good people around me that helped me through that injury. And as soon as I started playing, I played a couple of games. Obviously, then Mr. Mourinho leaves, and in football everything can change. Looking back at the moment, you think that sometimes it's something personal with the manager, but sometimes it's just choices.
Just preference.
Preference. Yeah. The manager prefers one player instead of you. And looking back, I think it was the right decisions, because you're coming off with an injury, you're competing with a player that is constantly playing. You will not have that opportunity that often, and it's hard for the manager to trust a player that is coming from an injury, didn't prove that much, he's still young. So it's obviously an easier option, but at the same time it made me stronger. Obviously I went through difficult periods at home, just training. That's why I like to be in this position now, because at this club I've been through everything.
Yeah.
I was the player that played now 50, 60 games in a row. I was a player that went to the stands for almost a full season.
Yeah.
I was not an option. I was on the bench. I was playing 1 or 2 games every 3 months. So I know every feeling.
You've experienced a full career.
Exactly,
Yeah.
a full career at Man United.
Yeah.
And that, I'm telling you, is probably one of the most proudest things that I feel about this club, is being through every stage in a progressive way. So I think at this stage of my career, I'm ready for any scenario. I've been in a situation I was injured for a long time. I couldn't train. Been through operations 2 times. So I think these things it gives you experience, gives you more confidence when different scenarios are coming for you to deal with it. And obviously, I think it was helpful being in such a young age, because you get more ready when you get older. So I would say that period of, I would say, 3 years was me
Character building.
Yeah, character building,
Yeah.
myself, and mentally getting stronger a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to Milan, that's when I realized that, okay, you still have that. You can still play football. Because until then, it was training every day, training really hard. I thought I had to do more and more and more for me to be able to play. And sometimes it's just the context. Sometimes you need to find a way of, okay, let me try this first. But in the back of my mind, I always had that feeling of, I need to come back. I cannot leave this club without proving that I can play.
Yeah.
Those words, I remember Mr. Mourinho when I signed, saying that I was capable of playing here for 10 years. And I couldn't leave this club without at least proving that I can play. Then you might like it or not, you might prefer another player or not, but the attitude, the approach of being a Man United player, I think that I built myself that through the years, and now being able to play more regularly, I think that's an opportunity that not many players can have it. So I try to enjoy it every time.
My next question was, after the Milan loan, did you think that's it? But you've just answered it, that you always wanted to come back.
Yeah.
You always wanted to come back and prove yourself, and
Yeah.
So on that topic of like your period of the last 2-3 years, you've recently celebrated your 200th match for United. You won 2 trophies under Eric. You were the Players' Player of the Year last year, 23-24, and you're just like and you just keep going. I think the last match you missed for Manchester United, that wasn't an injury. I think you have to go back to February 2023.
It was straight after the World Cup.
Yeah, straight after the
Obviously,
World Cup.
I missed through a suspension this season, but yeah, with an injury, it was after the World Cup. I remember I got an hamstring injury after the World Cup. I missed a couple of games there. I came back. I played 2 or 3 games in a row. I shouldn't have played straight because it was really a tight schedule. So I felt something straight away again. And then I stopped for 2 weeks, but then I came back, and since then,
And especially that season, United it was Eric's first season, and they put the World Cup was in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
On top of that, United reached the League Cup final, they reached the FA Cup final, and they went quite far in Europa. Unfortunately, didn't succeed. But yeah, so. Like they always say in football, your best ability is your availability, and you've been available. Talk to me about, we're now here. You had your difficult 3 years. You've now had your 3 years of. What's next? What's next for you to achieve? What would you like to achieve?
Obviously football player or any life, you always have goals. You always have in the back of your mind. You always want to be the best at your job. You always want to succeed, whether it's financially, professionally, or even personal goals. Obviously, being in this team, I want to win as much as I can. While I'm here, I want to win games. I want to win competitions. I want to win. I want to have that feeling of Man United is fighting again for the biggest trophies, for the biggest competitions. But I know to reach there, there's a long process, a long journey to go, and it has to be a daily process. So what can I control? Is come here every day, every morning, do my treatments, be ready for the game, train well, eat well, be physically available, be mentally available, and then perform on the pitch. And then the next day I'll try to do the same. And then the next day I'll try to do the same. That's a little bit of cliche, but it's how it works. So you always, season by season or day by day, you're trying to put goals every time. I think we football players are really driven about achievements and goals, and sometimes that can be too much pressure in your head if you're not reaching those goals at the time frame that you want. So imagine for me, if I'm here for almost 7 years, and when I signed, I wanted to win a Premier League.
Yeah. And
in 7 years, I didn't win.
Yeah.
So imagine if I felt, if I'm dragged to that mindset of being sad because I didn't win, or instead of, no, I have to fight. What can I do better? How can I convince my teammates also that we need to change the approach, we need to change the behaviors, we need to create more good habits every single day, so we can put the club back on top. I would say that it's professionally, that's the ultimate goal, is to see the club fighting again. Then personally, it's trying to be a better version of myself as a player, as a human being. I became a father, so trying to be the best father. Thank you, the best father that I can. And I think that if you start to develop yourself like that, I think it would be easier for you to handle such a high pressure club in such a high pressure environment. I would say that since I arrived, the thing that you learn the most is trying to be stable in terms of yourself. Be a little bit more balanced. I think that's the biggest challenge at this club, because unfortunately, right now, we are in a roller coaster of results. So roller coaster of results means roller coaster of emotions. Because when you win, you are happy. When you lose, you're not that happy. If you cannot find that balance of when things go well, okay, we won, but let's try to be calm, keep going. We need one more result like this. We want to win. And when you lose, not be so
too
low
down that you can't get up again.
Because the can be a best thing, it can be the worst thing at this club, is that when you win, you can be the best player in the world, but when you lose, you can be the worst player in the world. So when you find that balance, I think it becomes, I would not say easier, because the job is always difficult here, but it becomes more comfortable for you to focus on what you should really do. So I think the goal, as soon as you, and that's the message that I try to pass to every player that comes now that I'm here for a while, is that find that balance as quick as possible. And you will feel that here, when things go well, people will love you, people will give you everything. But when you lose, people will drag you down, because here you have to win all the time. And if you find that balance as quick as you can, I think you will be, I don't think you will be fine, because like I said, you have to win all the time, but it will be more comfortable for you to approach every single day.
And with that they give you, the club gives everything. I would like more talk to you about the fans. The fans, you clearly love the United fans, and the United fans clearly love you.
Yes, because when I came, nobody knew me. I think that's one of the. Looking back, I think it was an advantage for me, because it's almost like you don't have that initial pressure that some players have when they arrive, but at the same time it's more difficult because you need to prove more. So they don't have a background of you. So it can be the both sides of the coin, as we say in Portugal. But one thing that I would say about Man United fans is that they don't give you nothing for free.
Yeah.
So if they are praising you, it's because you deserve. If they are not so happy with you, it's probably because you are not doing as much as they wanted. That sometimes can be a little bit unfair because of the context that you are in, or you're not winning so many games, so it's easier for people to criticize you instead of praising you. But the best thing about Man United fans is that they are truthful.
Yeah.
So you can feel it. You go to the stadium, if you watch a game in the stadium, and you feel the atmosphere is a little bit quieter, it's because things are not going well.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, if the team is playing well, if you are giving everything on the pitch, the stadium becomes a different breed. That stadium is something unique in the world, and sometimes you don't need much. If you go to another stadiums in Europe, maybe a tackle means nothing, or lifting your teammate and giving a proper high five, feeling the energy, lifting the crowd. So in some stadiums, it means nothing. But at Old Trafford, it's everything, because it's the history of the club.
And even the away fans, like I remember the Paris Saint-Germain game where you know the 3-1 win, you win the penalty at the end, Rashford scores. I remember the away fans were louder than the home fans. I mean, of course, like they're losing, they're being eliminated, but Man United are going through. But like the United fans, there is that passion that like it just like rings through.
And to be honest, away fans, I didn't see anything like it. Everywhere we go. Even if we fly to the other part of the world, there are always hundreds of fans or thousands of fans waiting to watch the game, and people that travel from the UK to all over the world to see us. So it's something that sometimes, if you are here for a long time, you can take it for granted. So for me at least, I always try to remind myself that this is not normal. This is not something that you go to another stadium, another team, and you get every single time. Because it happened a couple of times. We lose at home 2-0 or 3-0, and people at the end cheering you up, trying to lift you. That is not normal, especially in a club that big. It's not normal. So you could take it for granted and you said, I'm not going to be criticized because the fans will cheer me up in the end, so I'm comfortable. No, you have to look at it as, come on.
Especially as, like you said, it's not exactly the best the roller coaster of a season, but the fans are still there, like giving the noise. You spoke about...
But sorry to interrupt. Let me say one thing. What I think we should have in mind all the time is that we are not in the context that we want. We are not fighting for trophies. We are not putting the club where it should be now. So imagine how it is when you are competing. So that's the biggest challenge for me. The thing that I want to feel the most, it's being here at Carrington, knowing that tomorrow we're gonna play an important Premier League game because
we're going for the title.
We're in the title race, and we are playing semi-final of Champions League because we want to be in the final. That atmosphere, I want to feel it.
Yeah, and hopefully it's it's going to come. You spoke about Man United. When you go abroad with Man United, as you know, Koora Break, we're a Saudi media platform, and one of your friends, Cristiano, plays in Saudi Arabia right now. He always speaks very highly of you. Like, I don't think there's been an interview where if he doesn't mention a player, Diogo Dalot is not mentioned. Just a couple of things that we picked up. What was behind the paddle celebration?
Obviously, we have, after meeting each other, we have really.
You knew Ronaldo with the Portugal national team, right? You played with him before you came to.
No, it was right before he came to Manchester again.
Yeah.
I had my first call up to the first team.
Okay.
So I met him there for the first time.
Okay.
in the Euros. So that
So your
was the
friendship
first,
like went boom.
yeah. So that was the first time that I met him. Luckily, 2 months later he signed for Man United. He came back. So after that, it was my life changed. To be honest, my career changed. It's something that I'm gonna be really proud until the end of my career. Meeting him professionally, and then personally. Before that, obviously, was my idol. And you always have that afraid of meeting your idols, so you cannot get disappointed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
So I always have that afraid of meeting him in person, because I had him in such a high place, and in a good place. Everything that I've heard, obviously, is the same as everyone.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit afraid of meeting him, but as soon as I met him, I said, oh,
And
this is even more beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you grow up as a kid, you start playing football, just watching him, he's your idol, you start doing everything that he does. And then you met him in person, you play with him. Imagine how it is for me. It was an amazing feeling. And then building this friendship with him, I think it was something really natural. But at the same time, I knew that since he came, it was something that I put straight up in my mind. You're gonna try to take everything that you can from him, so you can take for your career, for the rest of your career, because I knew that it was something temporary. Yeah. And I'm still fortunate enough to play with him in the national team. But I would say that those...
He's never going to retire, is he?
No, I don't think
so. He's going to be like Tom Brady, playing till like he's 50 or something.
I hope so. Those 1.5 years, I would say, was probably the most important partnership that I had in my career, because I've learned a lot from him, and obviously he helped me a lot to change a little bit of my approach in life and my approach regarding football. I consider myself obviously before a professional and trying to do all the best all the time, but to become obsessed with it, to understand that for you to be able to play for long time in a high level, you need to sacrifice even more. You need to be really detailed about things. You need to be even more professional. Try always, constantly, every day, trying to find new things that will help you to be in the best position mentally and physically. It took me to another level, and I think it's not coincidence that since I met him, my career gave a little step up.
Yeah, because you came back from Milan and he joined. So
yes. So I was there for 3 months where I was not playing the first 3 months that he came. But I remember it was every day, every single day, trying to do the same things, train well. And the message from him was always the same. Yeah. You have to train well, treat yourself well after the game, and tomorrow you do the same. And tomorrow you do the same. And the next day you do the same. And I can guarantee you, your time will come, because then there's no way of not doing it. There's no way. It can be here or in another place, but you will come. Because the reward will always arrive for those who work, for the hard workers, for those who do things right. I truly believe on that, and it really made me think about it, and really constantly doing every single day. And it was no coincidence that 3 months later I stopped playing, and it wasn't until
because you know when he removed the Coca-Cola, he said Coca-Cola, no water. Yes. I started crying because I love Coca-Cola. Like,
no, but you know how influential it can be. But you can be a good influence or a bad influence.
Of course.
I think he's on the good side.
Oh no, 100%.
So,
you can't.
So I'm glad that I was a part of it.
100%. And he has a nickname for you. I'm going to try. I can't. Is it? Pitacinho Golado?
Pitacinho, yes.
Yeah? I tried to translate it. Does it mean what? Goal scoring pitbull or pitbull goal scorer?
No, you cannot find a translation for that, I'm telling you.
But goleador means goal scorer.
Say again?
Goleador is goal scorer.
Goleador, yes.
Okay,
goal scorer.
Okay, fine.
No, but it's a funny story. We were can't believe I'm saying this lively, but we were in a hotel, and I remember there was two ladies from the kitchen already. And they were looking to me, blue eyes, and said, "Oh, look to this Pitãozinho, he's so cute." And then he'll start laughing. He couldn't stop laughing, and then after that, he was just telling me that every single day.
Because you then scored I think you scored
Yes,
twice.
for
That,
Portugal,
yeah, you
yeah.
scored twice. So that's
2
how
goals, yes.
that's how the nickname came. You've played in one Gulf World Cup in Qatar, and Saudi Arabia World Cup is coming in 2034. Is that an ambition to keep like you'll still only be 34?
Yeah.
Is that
It's a goal.
Yeah?
It's a goal, obviously. Especially now that I'm looking after my body. I have this in mind that I want to play football for as many years as I can. Obviously, I imagine that World Cup will be amazing, not just for the projects that are in also, but Saudi can be a really good country to host a competition like that. We had a good experience in Qatar. I think it went really well in terms of organization, even for the players to play it. I think it was really good. So I'm hoping that in Saudi things can be even better. So I'm really working hard so I can be in the squad in that year.
Do you watch the Saudi League by any chance?
Yes, obviously
Yeah,
now a little bit more
yeah.
since Cristiano went there, and you can see now the league is growing.
Yeah.
I think the message is it's always the same for the players that go there, and they see that the league is much better than everybody thinks of. And playing now having more teammates in the national team, I constantly have that feedback that the league is competitive. It's hard to play, obviously, because of the conditions are always different from Europe.
Yeah.
So really good to hear that the league is growing. I really have good people in there. A lot of players that I've played with are in there. So really good feedback from the country.
Ronaldo is, like you said, like your hero, and and you take a lot of advice from him. When you see Carrington is obviously very famous for the youth players that have come through. How do you give your knowledge to these players on like their development, their fitness, their mentality? How involved do you get with this?
It's just trying to every person, every player is about experiences. What I say all the time is that what I do for me works for me, but it sometimes cannot work for you. We are all different.
Yeah.
Bodies are different. Minds are different. But I always try to pass my feedback all the time. Obviously, if I get approached, if I see that I can help a teammate or a friend in a way that I think is something that it's working for me and he should change the behavior, or he should try at least. That is something that I do, and now more often, because I see that there's a lot of things that you can implement in your life that can change your life, can change your health, can change your physicality. So obviously something that I have in mind and with me. But one thing that I've learned also with Cristiano is that at least you should try with yourself. Do it consistently, not just for 1 week, 10 days. Do it consistently, and then things might work or not. But at least you try. So I'm always open-minded to try new things, to see if it fits on me, if it works on me. If it works, I will do it. If not, nothing happens.
And to end just on like a few just general questions, Patrice Evra has always said that the training session at Manchester United is harder than the game, and Ten Hag and Ruben have always stressed of the training. Who has been your toughest opponent at Manchester United or Portugal?
I've had a few, to be honest. I always said while he was here, for me it was Anthony Martial.
Okay.
I think it was in terms of training, playing against him all the time when he was more at the wing. He was a really different talent, I would say. He was strong, he was fast, he was lively on the ball, good finisher. So I would love to play with him also. The player that I always mention that amazed me in training was always Juan Mata. Obviously he's not known for hard working and challenges and tackles and everything, but for
the brain is
the brain, the way that he thought the game, the way that he treated the ball. I think that's a good expression. Treated the ball was something that I've never saw. really quality. Sometimes you would do things that you would see and say, how did he thought about it? So I always mention him being special in that term. So I would say those two was two really good players that I had. Obviously, I trained with Paul Pogba, with Bruno, with Chris. I had a lot of good players, but I can mention those two as the two most amazing ones.
And to end, you had to pick your dream five-a-side from players you've played with.
Five-a-side. Oh, good question.
You can put yourself in the team.
Yeah. I would say David in goal, De Gea.
Okay.
Myself. I would say another defender, Ruben Dias. So that's three. I have to put two more. I'd say Bruno and Cristiano.
Okay. Yeah, fine, fair enough. Diogo, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oops.